There are two bordering countries, two global trading hubs, but their balance of trade tells two quite different tales. Why does Malaysia, which is endowed with resources and manufacturing, occasionally experience trade deficit when Singapore, who is a small island with no resources, always a highly strong surplus? To know about this contrast, we must initially know what a balance of trade is. Balance of trade is the difference between sales and purchase of the country. That is what a country exports to other nations and what is imported by the country. In case the exports are higher than imports, then a country has trade surplus. It experiences a trade deficit when the level of imports is high. The manufacturing industry is one of the significant considerations affecting this balance. The manufacturing industry transforms raw materials into useful products which boost technological innovation, job creation, and economic development. High manufacturing sector assists a nation to manufacture more goods that can be exported and boost in its balance of trade. However, in case of weak manufacturing, the country can be very dependent on import, and this can result in a deficit.
Malaysia and Singapore share one of the oldest and strongest trade relationships in Southeast Asia. Their connection began in the early 19th century when both were part of the British trade settlements, allowing goods, labor, and capital to move freely. Even after Singapore's separation from Malaysia in 1965, trade continued to grow due to their close proximity and complementary economic roles. Malaysia became a key supplier of raw materials, natural resources, and manufactured goods, while Singapore developed into a major center for logistics, finance, and re-exporting. This partnership strengthened further during the 1980s and 1990s with rapid industrialization on both sides. From 2015 to 2023, trade remains resilient despite global challenges like the US-China trade tensions and the COVID-19 pandemic. Today, this long-standing relationship remains one of the most important bilateral trade partnerships in the region.
First is electrical and electronics. Electrical and electronic is Malaysia's most dominant export industry. Malaysia E&E export increased from RM267 billion in 2015 to RM575.45 billion in 2023, contributing 40.4% of total export. Malaysia import high-end integrated circuits and semiconductor wafers from Singapore, peaking at RM384 billion in 2022 and softening in 2023. Despite having imports of high-precision components, Malaysia records a trade surplus due to strong downstream export of assembled electronic products. Second, petrochemicals and chemicals reflect a structurally imbalanced trade relationship. Malaysia's chemical export increased from RM43.12 billion in 2015 to RM71.46 billion in 2023. Singapore is Malaysia's main supplier of refined petroleum and specialty chemicals, with import reaching $9.47 billion, RM44 billion in 2023. This sector recorded a trade deficit for Malaysia due to reliance on Singapore's upstream capabilities. Third is machinery and equipment supports Malaysia industrial production. Export increased from RM37.7 billion in 2015 to RM57.28 billion in 2023. Malaysia imports high-precision industrial machinery from Singapore worth $3.33 billion, equal RM15.5 million in 2023. Strong downstream manufacturing allow Malaysia to maintain a trade surplus. Fourth, food and beverage is resilient trade sector. Malaysia export RM29.7 billion of food and beverage in 2023. Imports of high-value processed food product reach $298 million, equals to RM1.39 billion. Malaysia maintains a trade surplus in this sector. Last, transport, automotive, and aerospace. This sector reflects the Singapore strength in high-precision engineering. Malaysia export RM45.3 billion in transport equipment in 2023. Imports of automotive and aerospace components reach $485 million and $122 million respectively. Due to high-value imports of aerospace, MRO, service and advanced automotive components, Malaysia recorded a trade deficit. Fourth, the food and beverage subsector. Malaysia exported RM29.7 billion worth of food and beverage products in 2023, mainly driven by processed food and palm-based products. Growth was modest due to increasing raw material price. Meanwhile, Singapore's F&B sector remains small but highly specialized, focusing on premium and niche products with higher value. Lastly, the transport, automotive, and aerospace subsector. Malaysia recorded RM45.3 billion in transport equipment exports in 2023, largely from automotive parts, while the aerospace segment remains small but developing.
In Southeast Asia, a nation's story is written through its trade, its industry, and the value it creates. GDP is more than a number. It reflects the strength of production, the scale of ambition, and the pace of progress. When Malaysian goods cross borders, opportunity flows back home, powering factories, creating jobs, and driving the nation forward. With every shipment to Singapore, from electronics to machinery, Malaysia's production engines accelerate. Higher output, greater value, stronger national income. When exports grow, an entire ecosystem awakens. Logistics, transports, warehouses, supply chains, each sector moves in sync, creating jobs and fueling domestic demand. And when export outpaces imports, a trade surplus emerges, strengthening GDP and reinforcing the resilience of Malaysia's economy. In 2024, Malaysia reached a historic milestone, 1.508 trillion in export, 1.371 trillion in imports, a surplus of 136.88 billion, a testament to the nation's economic momentum. Exports to Singapore do more than move goods. They move the economy. They move Malaysia closer to a future built on strength, stability and shared prosperity. This is the impact of trade. This is the story of Malaysia's growth.
The bilateral trade between Singapore and Malaysia has always been a crucial source of economic synergy in the area.
With Malaysia having a significant advantage in terms of trade surplus throughout the time frame of 2015 to 2023.
This disparity is due to the high export that Malaysia made, which amount to RM 219.33 billion in 2023, with the top product being the essential manufactured products such as the integrated circuit and refined petroleum that are key elements in the sophisticated manufacturing and international supply chains of Singapore.
On the other hand, Singapore was also a major export of Malaysia, with a value of around $32.7 billion in 2023 being composed of high-end machinery, chemical-based product and its own refill oil product, which are major imports that Malaysian industry used to support their industrial base. This interdependence in both directions, according to the official record of agencies such as MARIT and other international trade monitors such as the OEC, make it clear that Malaysia is a net exporter and Singapore is a major purchaser state, which underscore a balanced codependency that strengthens the industrial stability and growth of the two neighboring countries.
Between 2015 and 2023, variation in imports and exports have significantly affected the manufacturing performance of both countries. For Malaysia, strong exports have played a key role in driving manufacturing goods, especially in sectors such as electrical and electronics, semiconductors, automotive parts, and machinery. In 2022, the strength of manufacturing exports became a major positive factor supporting Malaysia's trade balance and overall industrial expansion. However, Malaysia's manufacturing sector remains vulnerable. This is because it relies heavily on imported intermediate goods, including components from trading partners like Singapore. As a result, global supply chain disruption and rising production costs can affect production stability and long-term development. On the other hand, Singapore's manufacturing industry is highly trade-oriented. Its performance is closely linked to global and regional trade flows. When international demand slows, Singapore experiences a direct decline in industry's output. This makes its manufacturing sector sensitive to external economic conditions. In conclusion, changes in trade pattern have a direct impact on manufacturing stability, competitiveness, and long-term growth in both countries. While Malaysia benefits from expanding export-oriented manufacturing, Singapore continues to depend heavily on global trade dynamics to sustain its manufacturing performance.
Firstly, both countries face global economic challenge, especially during the US and China trade war and COVID-19. Malaysia experienced slow demand in the key sector, while Singapore export-heavy economy faced port and shipment disruptions. Secondly, there were labor issues. Malaysia had no shortage of foreigner workers due to strict rules, and Singapore faced a again workforce with high labor costs. This pushed both to rely on automation. 3. Technology and digitalization pose challenges. Malaysia was slow to adopt Industry 4.0 due to cost and skill gap. Singapore was more advantaged, but most small business struggled with the fast change. 4. Regional competition increased. Vietnam and Indonesia attract investors with cheaper labor. Malaysian labor-based product lost some edge, with Singapore shift to high-tech technology industry to stay relevant. Lastly, both countries face sustainability pressure. They had to improve their environment standard and invest in green technology, which is increased cost but also open opportunity for in 2015 to 2023. Malaysia and Singapore face similar challenge. Global disrupt labor shortage, shape regional rival and environment demand. Their ability to adapt with the shape their future in the manufacturing world. To conclude, the report shows that Malaysia and Singapore have maintained a strong and interconnected trade relationship from 2015 to 2023, with manufacturing at the center of their economic ties. Malaysia continues to excel in large-scale, export-driven production, while Singapore leads in advanced, high-value manufacturing. Despite facing global disruptions, labor shortage, rising competition, and sustainability pressures, both countries have shown resilience. Their deeply connected manufacturing and trade networks remain essential to both economies. Ultimately, Malaysia and Singapore demonstrate how cooperation and shared strengths can drive stable and sustained economic growth.